All right, this is a Professor Conkle with TechScope Tuesday. Today is a little different. We're going to do a behind the scenes TechScope Tuesday to show how TechScope Tuesday is done, some of the technology behind it. Has a few folks asking to do that. I thought it would be helpful. So you're seeing behind the scenes a little bit today, and I'll kind of walk you through how it's done. First thing is, one of the things I want to mention is I do have a step-by-step on cconkle.com of how to do a split screen with Periscope. That's the steps we're going to use today to get started. And a little bit about TechScope Tuesday. We've been doing this since last September 2015. And the idea is to interview staff and faculty of Rock Valley College, students, and use Periscope, which a lot of folks use. And one of the hard things about Periscope, or difficult things when interviewing people, is there's no split screen. And so I investigated some ways to do it and came up with a way that works for us. It's not a perfect solution, but it works pretty good, I think. And so the first thing you want to do when you're setting up a split screen on Periscope is you first have to have a Periscope account. And so you'll need to go to download a Periscope app onto your iPhone or Droid. Second thing, once you set up your account, is you need to set up a page or a room on appear.in. Appear.in is an open source website for folks to have video conversation up to 8 people for free, no login required. And what you do basically is create the name of your choice. And so I'll go ahead and type in here a name that might be taken, might not be taken. I'll do RVC group. So RVC group, I typed in. I'm going to go ahead and hit start. And what it's going to do is take over my camera on my MacBook here, and you'll see there I am. And then over here is where I can give somebody this URL, basically, send it to them, and they can be on an iPhone, iPad, any computer that has an internet connection, and connect to it. Now, if you're on an iPhone or a Droid, basically you need to download an appear.in app, which I'll show you in a second. But what I recommend is once you get the room that you like with the name that you like, is you can lock it in, or claim the room. What claim the room does is claims this room for you to use, and it's totally free. No one else can take that name once you've claimed it. And it uses your Google authentication. So now that I've claimed this room, I now have this room available to me. And I'll show you all the rooms that I have reserved. And these are rooms that I can use at any time, and it's tied to my profile. And so this interface, as you notice, is pretty big. It's on a huge interface or laptop, so it's kind of not really conducive to Periscope. And so what I had to do is make a wrapper around it, a web wrapper, and I'll go back to my web page to show how I did that. So again, first of all, creating an account. I'll see if I can blow up this text a little bit. Create an account on Periscope. Secondly, claim your room. Copy the link to the room. Then you're going to use what's called an iframe and paste it in an iframe using HTML code that I've already given you. Modify the host name, email, and URLs and save it as index.html. Upload it to your web page or your website. Browse out to that web page, and I recommend using Firefox web browser. Blow it up a little bit more. And number 7 here, use an iPhone stand to start up Periscope. Kind of like the one you're seeing here, this iPhone stand. This one I got at Barnes & Noble, but you can get them online through Amazon or anywhere. This one cost about I believe like $10. And the other one you could use is like this one here I'm showing you. You can see on my Mac anyway. It's this one here I'm holding. It has kind of like a handle and two stands. If I can insert handle and two stands here. And these can move, these legs can move. This one's about $20, it costs a little bit more, but you're able to manipulate it much better. So, going back to the instructions here, once you've created the web page and you've saved it onto your website and use the iPhone stand to fire up Periscope, what I generally do is, before I start the Periscope, I actually, on my iPhone, I will create a note of that Periscope title. You want the title to be kind of catchy. And so here's the Periscope note I created for today. Join us for TechScope Tuesday behind the scenes. And you can use emojicons to put in there to make it a little bit more, to stand out a little bit more for your audience. So once you do that, you're going to point the camera to the web page. And so here's the web page for TechScope Tuesday. And so I point the camera to the web page. I actually put the camera on the stand, which I'll do right now. So let me set this down for just a second to show you. So I'm going to take the stand, the clamp, and put it on there. And what I'm going to do is basically position the clamp to where I can see it. And I'm pasting in the title right now, is what I'm doing. And making it a private connection to where not everybody's seeing this. Which that's what I'm doing right now, making a private connection. So I put in my title of my Periscope in the Periscope app. For this one, I'm making a private connection. And then I'm ready to broadcast when it's ready. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on the stand again. And this one takes a little bit of maneuvering. Basically, I'll try to position it where you can see this a little bit better. And how I have to maneuver it. It takes a little bit of maneuvering to get exactly where you want it. So give me a second here. But the nice thing about this flexible arm is it's easy to move and move around. So basically you get it where you want it to be. And the web page to show up in the Periscope app. And you can maneuver this around until you get the right spot. I'll bring the web page down. I'm using a Firefox and I use the Command- key to bring the web browser zoom level out. Almost there. But once you get it to where you want it, and it's not going to be perfect for this example here, but you get the gist of it. Then I go ahead and tap the Periscope broadcast Periscope button. And now I'm broadcasting. And I'm on a private channel, but I'm now broadcasting to the Periscope audience with my split screen. Now let me show you my split screen, how I do it when I invite people. I'll come over here to this iPad. So I'll pretend that I've invited someone to join me, and I have them go to the URL cconkle.com/guest. It brings them to this page on their iPad and says to start. Then it launches the Periscope app, or the Peer.in app. See, it prompts to open in the Peer.in app. I'll do that again. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. It takes a second to recognize the connection, and on this end it looks kind of weird for a second until it gets the correct position. But I'll come over here to show what it looks like here. It's looking fine over here, and it actually eventually makes its way. I'm going to turn the volume down on this. And so now you can actually see the interview, the person here, which is me and me. The one on the right that you're seeing is the one I've invited. Let me turn down the volume. There we go. And so now the audience, that's what they see. The feedback you're hearing, by the way, is from the speakers on my iPad here, which you normally would have, wouldn't be in the same room. There we go. Now it's correct. And so this is me, the interviewer. This is the interviewee over here, down there. Okay. Or if I can find it over here, no. So anyway, the interviewee here, person is being interviewed, and then I'm the bigger person there on the screen, the one that's interviewing. So interviewer, which is the bigger one. Interviewee is the smaller one. That's how it will look like on an iPhone or iPad. So that's how it looks, and on the screen, my iPhone here went to sleep. But anyway, on the screen of the iPhone is where the Periscope app would be showing what you're seeing here in a much steadier view and focus. And when the person disconnects on the other end, I'll show you what it looks like. I'll go ahead and disconnect. And you'll see how it goes back to the invite link on the Periscope page or on the web page. So let's go back to the instructions. I'm going to move this out of the way just so we can see the page better. So back to the instructions. Once we've invited the person on Periscope and we've set up the phone stand, like I mentioned earlier, and started the broadcast, you're going to have to move and resize a web page, and I recommend using the Control+ key. If you're on a Firefox web browser, you can control the zoom in, zoom out of the browser itself. Then you're going to, number 9, your set up a time to interview. I did put out here little verbiage you can give folks, but you can use this or not use this. Again, if you go to cconquer.com, you can see the split screen interview setup to help you. And it tells them basically what they need Firefox, what web page to go to, what app to download. Tells them how to go through the process as I just showed you. And then the code here for the actual web page to embed the appear.in is right here on number 10 where it says HTML code below. You're basically copy and paste all this code, and then you're going to replace the room URL for the appear.in with your name of your room. The one example I did was RVC room or RVC example here. Your email will go here. Your host name will go here. Your email name again will go here. Any logo you might have would need to go here and put it in the same folder that the index.html page is in, and the website URL that you might want to to click on. And then if you have them go to a page or something, your home page or your website for your business, you can put that here, the name of your business and the URL here. And you basically put that in the root of a folder along with any image or logo that you might have. And it ends up looking like this right here. So in place of the logo here would be your logo, here, your name, email, so on and so forth. And you can tweak it to make it look however you want to. The day of the interview, you fire up the web page about 15 minutes before. I usually do about 10 or 15 minutes before. Have the person connect about 5 minutes before the interview starts to talk to them real quick, make sure their phone is on landscape mode. Otherwise, it doesn't look right on this page here. It'll show up in vertical mode if you don't do landscape. It'll show up in like this type of rendering. Start a Periscope, wait for the guest to enter, and then title it as I showed you earlier, and it's going to look kind of like this one here. And that's it. That's how you do a split screen with Periscope, and that's how I do TechScope Tuesday. And again, if you go to my website, cconkle.com, just search for split screen, the word split screen, and you should be able to find it. Well, hopefully that helps. If you have any comments or questions, you can definitely post them below or post them in the replay. Does anybody have any questions about doing a split screen? There is other services out there. Meerkat is a service that allows you to do kind of like Periscope does. Also, a number of other ones. Periscope is probably the most popular though that's out today that businesses use to get the word out. And the reason I like to do split screen is I think it just looks much nicer. You also get to put your logos on there, your contact information, and you kind of control the content of that Periscope. I did hear in the future there is going to be a split screen feature in Periscope. That's not yet here. So this is a workaround to do a split screen. And so hopefully this helps some of you. Again, if you go to cconkle.com, you can find the article and the steps of how to do it. But hope it helps somebody, and thanks for joining me, and hope to see you next week. We do have President Mike Mastriani joining me next week for TechScope 2. I'm sorry, he's going to be in April. Let me look at next week because that's wrong. He did have to reschedule, but let me look at what next week's is real quick. He was supposed to be today, but had to reschedule. And I think we put that off in April, so let me look at the page here. So next week we have break because of spring break, so no Periscope, no TechScope Tuesday next week. 3/22 is the next one, Tuesday, March 22nd. Host is Melvin Allen, the RBC Executive Director of Recruitment, is going to be with us. On 3/29, Matt Gargano, RBC Faculty Business. 4/5, April 5th, John Filicaro, RBC Eagle Support, our LMS we use at Rock Valley. 4/12, April 12th, David Costello, RBC Public Relations and Marketing will be with us. And then RBC President Mike Mastriani will be with us on April 19th. April 19th is when he's coming. So if this was helpful to any of you, tap the screen. One of the things I have had people say they would use probably, they might not do the split screen Periscope, is just using the appear.in. And an idea that I had was you could use appear.in and create a family group and maybe have folks from your family and friends connect, because you can connect, like I said, up to 8 people in this room at no cost. They don't have to log in, and it's easy to do. And so grandma and grandpa, mom and dad, brother, sister can connect to this really easy. They don't need much tech expertise, I believe, to do it. And so if you're not going to use it for Periscope, you might just use that appear.in service to have your family connect one to the other using video. So again, hope that helped you, and I'll see everybody in 2 weeks. So thanks for joining. Appreciate it.